Hello, my name's Henry Demers. I live in New Hampshire, and I've been a Christian for a long time now. I got saved in 1982 at a Billy Graham crusade. About a year later, I was in my bedroom and I had a vision. I wasn't really familiar with what visions were, or I didn't really know anything about the rapture at that time. But I had a vision that was about the rapture. There were three parts of it. The first part, I saw a face, and I saw all these different pairs of glasses on the face. And the first pair up top were really dark sunglasses, and as you got lower and lower, the glasses kept getting lighter until the last pair was just totally clear as my glasses. So it was just really dark, and it got lighter, lighter till it was totally clear glasses. Then the next part was I saw a white robe. And then the third part, I saw a man in a robe blowing a trumpet. I was totally awake, and I had this vision, and all I saw was a vision, and I felt God's presence in it. And I asked some mature Christians at that time what it meant, and they all felt it had to do with the rapture. At the beginning of this year, I went to a prayer meeting, and I saw about 6 foot glasses that were like 6 feet. They were made, and they were put on the platform of the place where we went to worship. And then the sermon was on the white robe. I'm like, wow, God, you're really re-highlighting this vision I had way back when I was first a Christian. So I started to pay attention. And then just a couple nights ago, before bed, I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, would you give me a rapture dream? And sure enough, the dream before I woke up that morning, a couple of days ago, was a rapture dream. I just want to share that with you. So I went outside of this home that I'm living in now, in the dream, and went to I was outside in the front yard with my wife and my daughter who currently lives with us. And I knew that the beginning part of the dream, that it was just normal. Everything was normal. We weren't upset about anything. We didn't have stress. We were just peaceful and happy, and the weather was nice. We weren't in any winter clothes. I noticed that too. We weren't. The season was like just nice weather to be outside. And then we heard something. We all three of us looked up in the sky, and very big in the sky above our heads was an airplane. And we don't live that far from the airport, so we often have airplanes that fly over our house. But this airplane was really, really low, and it was actually cut in half, and it was just attached at the middle. It was almost in two pieces, but it was attached at the middle, and it was just above us. And we weren't fearful it was going to fall on us, but we knew it was going to land pretty close to us. So in the dream, I just looked at my wife and my daughter very seriously, and I said, "Get down on the ground and look at me." And then when they looked at me, I noticed their eyes were red. They were crying because they were afraid and scared. I wasn't afraid because I knew what it was in the dream. And I had them look at me, and I said, "It's okay. It's the rapture." And then I woke up. So that really encourages me. If I'm asking God to give me a rapture dream, and I have a rapture dream, it's from God. The enemy doesn't answer my prayers to God. So I believe the first part of my vision in 1982, when 1983, I believe it was the fall of 83, was a rapture dream. I believe that first part of the dream, after it was re-highlighted at this church service I went to in January, I mentioned, I started to think that the clear part of the glasses and that first part of the three parts of that first vision I had is a time. I'm not saying the rapture is this year, but I'm saying this year for me is significant. Maybe to focus on the rapture or get ready for the rapture. And I believe we are seeing birth pains, the things that are going on in the world. And those of us who have wives, or for women we've had went through labor, we know that once you start those birth pains, they get more intense and they get closer together. So I don't believe people that say, we're going to get through this and everything's going to be fine. And because biblically, I believe that things are going to get more intense, and And it's not doom and gloom, but I feel like to expect biblically that things will get worse. Um, I studied Bible prophecy also in the 80s, in the late 80s, and I'm just seeing everything that we learned, come to pass. And there's so many fulfillments in the Bible that these are the end times. And a really unbelievable confirmation, too, I wanted to mention of the dream I just had a couple of days ago was the date and the time. So I didn't look at the clock right when I woke up from my rapture dream, but it was a few minutes after. When I looked at the clock, it was exactly 7 o'clock, and that was significant to me. And then when I thought about the date, and I'll explain that, when I thought about the date, it was the last day of the 6th month. And the next day would be the first day of the 7th month, obviously. So that was very, very significant to me because it was actually the day before I was listening to a message, and the minister was talking about the first 7 days of creation, and that each day is significant, is symbolic of each 1,000 years of man on earth. And so he was breaking it down, and so I know that there was 4,000 years before Christ, and we're now at 2,000 years after Christ. That makes 6,000 years. The millennium is going to be 1,000 years. So that's where we are in the, like, as far as the date. The last day of the 6th month and the first day of the 7th month was the date, and I believe that's where we are in history. 6,000 years that man has lived on this earth, and then at that 1,000 year millennium will be the 7,000 years that we're here on earth, and then after that we go into New Jerusalem. So I really do believe that the church will get raptured soon, and we're going to go to the marriage supper of the Lamb for 7 years, and we're going to come back with Christ, and when he comes back to rule and reign for 1,000 years, the millennium, and then we're all going to live in the New Jerusalem in heaven for eternity after that. And I'm just concerned for those that aren't ready for the rapture, that don't know the Lord, or maybe aren't ready, because it's going to get really bad. I mean, we're just seeing the setup of the New World Order and the Antichrist system. But once the church is gone, it's going to be really, judgment's going to fall. It's going to be very hard to be here under the Antichrist system, and it's going to be hard to be saved through that, because you can't buy or sell without the mark of the beast. So it's serious times we live in, and I feel like God gave me that vision and that dream, not just for myself, but that he wants me to share it. So that's why I made this YouTube video. I hope it blesses someone. God bless you.